The long-awaited off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states have come and gone. This after Nigeria had witnessed one of the toughest elections ever in our history, given the much expectations from Nigerians. However, intricacies of managing electoral victory in Nigeria is one such area politicians need to internalize against all odds, beyond forming a cohesive team to drive the expectations of the electorate. Newly elected officials are oftentimes urged to be magnanimous in victory. The journey, though, appears to be indeed multifaceted. Issues like forming a competent and inclusive cabinet to select individuals with diverse skills and backgrounds to ensure a well-rounded government that can address the diverse needs of the population is one thing. Building effective communication and navigating the complex web of political interest is another challenge. Political observers are of the view that successful leaders must strike a delicate balance, fostering unity while addressing the concerns of different factions within their party. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Now, joining me via Zoom is public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Good to have you with us, Jide.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, looking very, very, very good. And also here in the studio with us is another public affairs analyst and, of course, a journalist, Ahmed Sajo. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. And I saw my brother there looking like one Igbo chief.
I didn't want to say that. I just want to say
one name, Mama.
I didn't want to say that. I wanted to use something else. But then, Jide, we'll start with you. Now, give us your assessment. Of course, I know you observed, probably from a distance, the election that took place in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State, and of course all the issues that popped up during these elections. Give us your assessment of the entire of the election.
Election that was scheduled for 11/11, which is a epoch-making day, eventually took place last Saturday. The election had been concluded in the 3 states of Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo. In terms of my own assessment, it's a mixed bill of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The reason I'm saying that is that there were aspects that were okay, and there were aspects that are not too good and needs to be looked into. In this election, we had polling commencing much earlier than we used to have in previous election, where sometimes poll officials will not get to their units until well into an hour or two when the poll should have started. For majority of the polling units, INEC officials were on ground. We also have priority voting for persons with disabilities, the elderly, nursing mothers, and pregnant women. This election also reflected largely the wishes of the electorate. And you have INEC living up to its promise of having the result of the election uploaded on IREF portal. So when you look at all of this, and coupled with the fact that the election was substantially peaceful, even though there were skirmishes here and there, a couple of fatalities, I think someone allegedly was murdered, or someone died in Bayelsa at the collation center in Bayelsa, and maybe one other death. But compared to previous elections, this was not as violent as we used to have. However, when you drill down all the variables of election, the usual suspects still rear their ugly heads in this. Starting with Kogi, we have incidents of mass filling of election results in Ogorimagongo, in Adavi, in Okehi and Okene, as well as Ajaokuta. INEC, by its own admittance, and through a press statement issued late on Saturday, admitted that there were some pre-filled result sheets. This, to me, is a new law that should never have witnessed in this election. According to Yaga Africa press statement yesterday afternoon, in Imo, there were about 40 polling units where election did not hold, and yet results were declared and uploaded on IRF portal. There were also allegations of bypass of beavers for accreditation, in which case, with the bypass of beavers, it became free for the poll officials to allocate figures at their discretion. So, if you go on social media, you will see many results that did not reflect the number of accredited voters. For instance, 2 people may be accredited, and when you see results, you see 550, which has no correlation. Because BVAS is structured in such a way that it will capture the number of accredited voters, then number of registered voters, those who collected PVC for that polling unit, and then it will show you the ECATA form. So in many instances, we have scenario where results that were declared at the polling units, particularly in Imo, some 40 polling units, like I said, in Imo, as well as some few others. At least I have seen about 5 results that did not tally with the number of accredited voters. And that's why BVAS is very essential, because situations where there are discrepancies between the number of accredited voters and the number of people who eventually voted, as written on the ECATA form, should have triggered an inquiry by the collation officer.
Okay, Julia, thank you very much for that assessment that you gave of the, you've said quite a lot about what transpired in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo. Now, Sergio, with all Julia has said, you know, with everything that happened during the election, we have winners. They've emerged in Imo, Kogi, and of course Bayelsa. Now we're looking at the way forward. Now, how can these winners, or will I say even also with their political parties, manage this victory? So that, because in the past we've had what we call post-election violence. People disagreeing, people saying no, this is not what you know is what is obtainable, or what happened, transpired during the election. Now we have the winners. How can these crop of politicians, the winners here, manage this victory so that we'll have, you know, a peaceful administration?
Well, I think first let's contextualize the election. Mm-hmm. 2 of the people that won are coming in for their second term. You know, Hope Ozeduma was a governor, and now he has won. He's going to continue as a governor. Mm-hmm. Duo Diri of Bayelsa was also a governor, and he's coming in for his second term in office. for them, it's a continuum. They already have they have won elections in the past. They have celebrated their victories in the past. They have participated in forming a government in the past. So it's they're just going to repeat what they did in the past. Now, but for the Kogi governor, is a new person. He's taking over from another person, but mercifully, he's taking over from his own party. So we're expecting that, that one too is going to be very smooth. Except, of course, if we may end up with an overbearing influence of the outgoing governor,
which you don't expect,
which may, trigger some crisis. We've already seen something of that nature happening in Rivers State, but we hope that governors who are handing over to their successors will understand that there's a limitation. We've had very good models that we can. When Kashim Shettima handed over to Zulu, he announced publicly before everybody that before you became governor, I was your boss. Now that you are governor, you are my boss. And he maintained that relationship throughout the state. We also have inequity. Governor Kayode Fayemi, of Ekiti State. When Bao, the current governor, Biodun Oyebanji, was his SSG, the moment Biodun became the governor and he became an ex-governor, he submitted to Biodun as the leader of the state. If the governor of Kogi, current governor, could also emulate that, as soon as the new governor takes over, he should, submit to him. But what I am advising is that winners must not only be magnanimous in victory, but they must also be humble. Humility matters a lot. It's arrogance and a sense of winner takes all and a sense of invincibility that creates confusion. As far as post-election violence is concerned, I don't think we're going to experience it. If it were to be experienced, this is the time. But now that announcements have been made, winners have emerged, and there is no crisis whatsoever, we're expecting that there will be no post-election violence. Now, managing the victory requires humility, it requires magnanimity, and it also requires, to a large extent, an understanding on the part of the people that did not get it this time around. There is nothing wrong in extending a hand of fellowship, in congratulating the winner. People have done it before. Governor Fayemi congratulated Fayose when he was declared winner, even though he did not agree with the manner the election went, but he still congratulated Fayose and came back to Abuja and became a minister. That was it. So we're looking at a situation where we expect the losers to congratulate the winners and accept that, look, this is the will of the people, this is the will of God, and they move forward. And the winners must also, be very magnanimous and humble to accept that each one that was on the ballot was fit and qualified to be governor. Just that God had decided through the voice of the people that the winner will be the governor. So I think if we manage it that way, we would be able to, manage it very well. But again, the second leg of it, and I must confess, when elections are over, politics should be put in the basket. Now it is governance. So the people that have won, all of them, even the people that are returning, it's an opportunity to evaluate their first term and look at the gaps and begin to develop new key performance indicators for their government. The new person should now know that he is not going to establish a government as an extension of that of Yahya Bello, but a government of his own, And so he must begin to put his own governance structures on ground. Being a civil servant who worked in Kogi, he must have understood the system very well. He knows, I mean, working with the local government, he knows every corner of Kogi State. He understands everything that goes on in the service. I expect that he will set up a robust governance structure that will serve the interests of the Kogi people.
Thank you very much. Now, Jide, winning an election is one thing, then managing the victory is another thing. Now, Sergio here has said the winner should be magnanimous and also humble. Given the kind of politicians we've seen in the past, how can we achieve effective governance that is humble? Or will I say, okay, effective governance from a politician, or politicians rather, that are humble and magnanimous, and of course are ready to extend the hand of fellowship to the other parties that, you know, lost out in the election. Jide?
Well, yes, it's not out of place to have a government of an all-embracing government or government of unity that will involve inviting the opposition to participate in government, either giving them some commissionership slots or head of ministries, department, or agency. After all, it is the state, and the state belongs to everybody, both politician and non-politician. And we've seen it in the past where even at the federal level, as members of the opposition were given ministerial slots, were given heads of agencies. That can also happen at the state level. However, it is at the discretion of the governor to so do or to run government of only his party members. But I will encourage an all-inclusive government in the states where elections have been held. Governor Uzodimma has addressed the public, and he has said that he's willing and ready to work with opposition. He has reached out. He has asked, put out olive branch for them to work with him. However, it is not mandatory that such offers should be accepted by the opposition. Some of them have threatened to go to court, and it is within their rights to approach the court for redress. And I actually will encourage that, because we need to, the jurisprudence, the court will help to strengthen our democratic institutions. Perhaps with all the flying allegations of manipulation of election results, inflation of vote, uploading of fake results, if those who are aggrieved should go to court, maybe court will find merit in some of those claims. I do not have independent authority to know whether this happened or how widespread these shenanigans were. So if the opposition want to go to court, it's within their right. And if they decide to leave it for God, as we say in local parlance, it's also within their right. However, what Governor Doediri, Governor Uzodimma, and Governor Usman Ododo would do for me and for their good people of their respective states is to govern well. You see, politics is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. Politics is leadership recruitment process. So people contest election to serve, in quote, they are to serve. And if politics and election victory is to serve the people, I hope and I pray and I will encourage them to serve well, so that people of their respective states can feel positive impact of governance. Because the problem with our democracy in the last 100 years that we've been practicing electoral democracy since 1923 is that democracy has not delivered dividends. It has not brought about good governance. It has brought about rapacious political elites who are maximum ruler, who privatize the states, who corruptly enrich themselves, who care less about the welfare and well-being of people. So these newly emerged governors over the weekend should remember provision of Section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as altered, that talks about security and welfare of citizens being the primary purpose of government. So let them bear that in mind, that security and welfare of citizens should be their watchword. People are suffering, they are angry, they are deprived, they are dehumanized. Many are having, high blood pressure and all manner of ailments because they have no money, because they have no access to resources. It is for the state government to pull more people out of poverty than their predecessors in office have been able to do. So I wish the newly elected governors well, but they must know that uneasy lies there that wears the crown.
Thank you very much, Judy. Now, Sergio, uneasy.
Yeah.
Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
Of course, he said that. But now, how can these victories translate to good governance? Jide has reeled out quite a lot of things that he would wish they would do in their different, because it's not just, oh, we've won the election, now I'm the governor. So how can this translate to good governance, where the people will look back and say, of the truth, we've elected someone that is there for us, that will give us, in fact, that will say, thank God we elected him.
I think the first thing that whoever wins an election in this country should realize is that more people refuse to go and vote than people that go out and vote. That tells you in very clear terms that a lot of people are losing interest in the electoral process. And the only way we can return people's interest in the electoral process is for the elected officials to serve the best interests of the people. Our biggest concern as a country today, honestly, is poverty. The level of multidimensional poverty that we're facing in this country is so high. And so the winners must immediately begin to think about how they can reduce the level of poverty in their domains, and how they can increase the confidence in the people. They open more opportunities for people to do. But by and large, we've seen, like I said, 2 governors being re-elected and 1 governor elected newly. We pray for them. We hope that they will realize that this is a sacred trust put on their heads by the people of their states. Regardless of what anybody says, they've been declared winners. They will assume the mantle of leadership, and they will be expected to provide good governance for their states and their people. In selecting their team, they should consider the interests of the people, the diversity of their states. There are a lot of issues that came up during this election: sectional interest, ethnic interest, religious interest. They must make sure that they manage these diversity issues in such a manner that gives everybody confidence in the leadership that they will establish.
Thank you very much. Well said there. That's it on Nigeria Today. We want to thank our guests for sharing their thoughts with us. We want to thank the public affairs analyst, Jide Ujo, that joined us via Zoom. Thank you very much, Jide, for coming on the program.
Thank you, Keria. Stay safe and stay blessed. Happy New Week.
Thank you so much. And also, we had Ahmed Sajo, also a colleague from the pen profession and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, Sajo, for being here.
Thank you. I'm really grateful. And, We've managed our time very well.
Thank you. And thank you for being part of this. Remember, the program Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch this and other episode on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.